try once again. No, that is not the problem. It's okay, अच्छा था. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ पुनत्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. So today we shall talk about graceful acceptance. See, whenever a human being undertakes something, naturally he desires a result. Individual will perform an action with some desire, and for that he makes all the planning also, takes into consideration all the variables, all that is required for a particular result. All that is thought of, sometimes even meticulously planned, all this is done. But still we see many a times, more often than not, we see that we do not get the desired result. We work for it, plan everything meticulously, but still we don't get what we want. Why does this happen? Why do we not control the result? So here this points to a very big thing, that result is never in my control. Result is always, result of an action is always determined by Ishvara. Because there are so many variables, so many known as well as unknown factors working upon a result, about which I am not always aware of. Why talk of result? Even while performing an action, we think that we have taken everything into account. Whatever is needed for an action, we think that we have taken into account. But it so happens that sometimes something is not taken care of. In spite of all our knowledge, we are still limited. We are still limited. Our knowledge is limited. And so we may plan everything, but some mistake may have been made somewhere. So what I am trying to say is that when action which is in my control, so called, even in that, when sometimes I miss things, sometimes we say, oh my God, I forgot to take this into account. I did everything but forgot that at home. Or some certain things in litigation also we miss sometimes. So when action is also not completely in my control, then what to talk about the result? Then result is absolutely not in my control. I may have my estimate, or I may have an overall, assumption that this will be the result. I'll give you an example. A simple thing like crossing a road. You are standing on the footpath and you want to cross the road. When you are trying to cross the road, it's not necessary that you will cross it. You want to go somewhere and you are working for it, but it is not 100% guaranteed that it will happen. It can very well happen that somebody comes along and takes you for a ride. That is one result. Another one is you are waiting for a bus. Let us say that. You are waiting for a bus and somebody comes, and instead of going by bus, you get a ride in your friend's car. This is one possibility. Other possibility is you were waiting for the bus and the bus came, and you could take the bus and reach your destination in time. The third possibility is that you are waiting for the bus and you have just reached the bus stand and you missed the bus. You happen to miss the bus. Now the fourth possibility is that you were waiting for the bus and suddenly what happened? Some car or some truck or somebody came in such a manner, you were standing on the footpath and still he hit you. So these are the four possibilities, all different from each other, which can result, which can come about when you wanted to take the bus. One was you got the bus. See, listen carefully. You got the bus. Second one is you got the ride. One was you wanted the bus and you got the bus. Exact result. It can be exact as you had planned. You missed the bus less than what you had planned. Third one, you got the ride, car ride, more than what you had planned. And the fourth one is that somebody hit you, and when you open your eyes, you are in hospital. Now this result is exactly or not is absolutely opposite to what you had wanted. You had never even dreamt that I could be in a hospital. So in a simple action like this also, things can go wrong. It may be more, it may be less, it may be exact, it may be totally opposite. Why does this happen? Because we just cannot control what the result will be. Result is always authored by, determined by, decided by Ishvara. This is something which we have to know. That doesn't mean that we don't have to perform the action. Keeping in mind the desire and keeping in mind the result. Whenever we perform an action, we definitely have the result in mind. If I wanted to come to USA, I take the flight and I bought a ticket with the desire that I will reach there. But things can go wrong. I may miss the flight, it may be delayed, or there may be plane crash, anything can happen. So that is absolutely not in my hand. Then who controls? Ishvara controls. This we have to be aware of when we are performing an action. We definitely do our best. But that the result will be absolutely as per my desire cannot be said. Just cannot be guaranteed. Why? Now we will go into that. That when an action is performed, so many multiple variables, multiple factors are working upon that result. Which variables? Known variables plus unknown variables. What are the unknown variables? Unknown variables are those about which I am not even aware of. I may have done something in the past, in my past lives. See, those who do not accept the past births, for them it is very difficult to accept all this. They always think that the effect should be in keeping with the cause. Effect should be in keeping with the cause. They will never be ready to accept that there is something in the past beyond this birth, that I have gone through many births in the past, and what all I did in those births, today I am absolutely not aware of it. So for such people, for those who have this kind of ideology, for them to accept that the result is authored by Ishvara is very difficult. But for us, or for those who believe in past birth, we can very well understand that there may be something in the past. Today, if the result is not in keeping with my estimate, I need not condemn myself for that. I need not condemn that I must have done something wrong and that is why I condemn myself. No, there is no need for that, because when the action was performed, that is gone. Today I am not even aware of it, of what I did. There is no such memory with us. So, but this much awareness, this much knowledge has to be there, that Ishvara takes into consideration. When a result comes, when the result is given, all those past effects or karmas which are done in the past are taken into account. Not just one action. Yes, the action which I performed now, in that action, all the other things are considered, how it was performed, whether all the factors were considered or not, what was my intention while performing an action. All this is definitely considered. But along with all this, even my past is considered, because the results of the past actions also have to be given. The results of the past actions are also waiting to be dispensed, waiting for the result. And who decides? See, this is a very, very minute and very subtle point. Who decides that the result of this past action should be given now? Who decides? We cannot decide. Why? Because we don't even have the knowledge, much less we have the logistics and every other thing to bring about that result. We just don't know all this. Ishvara only knows what all this jiva has done in the past, with what intentions. Apparently it may look as if the action is good, but along with the action, the intention may be all wrong. We just don't know. So we may question now that the result of this action is not in keeping with my desires. And we may complain also. We may get disappointed also. We may get frustrated also. We may call ourselves failure also. And we may even make a conclusion that Ishvara has not been fair with me. Ishvara has not been fair with me. This may be our conclusions, but when we make this kind of judgments, this kind of conclusions, always understand that the result is not wrong. The result that is there before me is not wrong. My calculations are wrong. My calculations, because my knowledge is limited, with that limited knowledge, naturally, it is quite possible that my conclusion or my estimate is bound to be wrong. We accept that gracefully and have the faith in the one who decides the result. It is quite possible that the result of some past action comes and infringes upon this action which I have performed now. Understand what I am saying? In some past birth, I may have done something. The result of that is waiting. The result of that action is waiting. It has not fructified. It comes at this moment, and when I am expecting that the action which I have performed now will bring about this particular result, that may not come. And what can happen? The result of some past action may come, infringe upon this, and bring about altogether a different result, which may not be acceptable to me. But if I conclude that this action or this result is not proper, then it is definitely a mistake on my part. If we see it is a mistake. Why? Because there is nothing wrong in this result. We cannot find any fault in Ishvara's calculations, precisely because he is all knowing. He is all knowing. Plus, he knows that this is best for me. This is best for me at this time. We sometimes feel, if this had happened after some years, I would have accepted. But not at this moment. If my partner had passed away after 3, 4, 5 years, then maybe I would have been ready. But at this time, I was just not ready. We happened, and it's okay. It's okay. But that is not correct. Why? Because keeping in mind the omniscience of Ishvara, keeping in mind his omnipotence, keeping in mind his care and concern for all human beings, for all jivas, it just cannot be wrong. It just cannot be wrong. There is no lacuna, no mistake whatsoever in his calculations. And his calculations are not like the calculations of the judge now, the Chief Justice. He, even though he knows that this person is not wrong, but then if the proof is something else, he has to go by that. The judges here are limited. They will go by the proof. Even though their gut feeling may be that this fellow looks innocent. But if the proof is something else, he cannot just do anything. This kind of limitations Ishvara doesn't have. Ishvara just doesn't have. This is a matter of faith, plus it is a matter of our knowledge too. This is not mere Shraddha. Shraddha born from understanding of Ishvara. See, we as human beings, we need to have some understanding of Ishvara also. Because he is the one who does everything. And if we will misunderstand him, it will affect our life. It will definitely affect our life. It will affect our minds. It is quite possible that in sequence, sometimes everything goes wrong in our lives. There are certain situations which are very, very difficult to swallow, very, very difficult to accept. It is easily said than done, very difficult to accept. But as I said, when we cannot accept and when we sometimes are put off with Ishvara, that no, I don't believe in him anymore. What kind of Ishvara is he? Who doesn't understand an honest person, a good fellow, a righteous person, and he dispenses this kind of results? There is no Ishvara. Some people throw away everything after certain situations that occur in their lives. I have seen, and it is understandable, but they throw away. They may be very devoted people, doing puja and so many things, but something happened in their lives which completely turns them off. Completely turns them off only because they could not accept. That means that they are having more faith in their own thinking, in their own judgments. No, I thought it should be like this only. But things are not in your hands. Why did this happen with my child? Sometimes children are born like that. For parents, it is very difficult to accept. It is understandable. But that doesn't mean it is wrong. I wish it was different. I wish it was different. That we can say. Why this happened with my child? Why this happened with my spouse? Why this happened with me? So many things, it can happen to anyone. And we are so closely related with our family, with our siblings, with everyone. So then it is difficult to accept. But when we cannot accept, when we become bitter, we become bitter. And sometimes there is so much of anger also. Minds are full of anger. And then that anger comes out in different ways in our lives, in our relationships. People, when this kind of things happen, then their relationships are also disturbed. Why? Because in the disposition changes. People get depressed, people get frustrated. And if you think, when all those things happen, do you think it won't come out in your behavior? It will come out. There will be some outlet. Sometimes life is gone forever. Sometimes when you cannot accept certain hard facts of life, then your life is gone. You get stuck there. Why? Your whole disposition, mannerisms, everything changes. Bitterness remains intact and you don't proceed. People don't proceed. They get stuck over there. Why? Simply because we cannot accept. It is understandable. But as I said, what will happen next moment with me or with my close people, I cannot say. What is up in the sleeves of future, I just don't know. I just don't know what will happen. Sometimes, things just happen in our life. As I said, somebody's child is born like, what can you do about it? You just cannot, parents' life is gone. But then, what will be the pragmatism? That now, this is what has happened. I cannot do anything about this. I better accept. With love and care, you bring up the child. Otherwise, your life is also gone and the child's life is also gone. Already, this hard thing has come before you. See, this is not easy. Life is not easy. Somebody just goes away. We hear so many, every day, so many cases are happening. I mean, they just married and then still the accident, they are gone. So many things happen. That is how it is. That was destiny. That was bound. Even if you had tried to avoid it, it would definitely have happened. There are certain destiny is something. It is bound to happen. So we need to understand that I do not control future. I do not control the result of an action. What is in my control is action. What is in my control is action. And I do it best. And as I said, in that also always we are not in command. We want to reach a certain place. But then suddenly ambulance comes, and then fire fellow comes, this fellow comes, traffic jam is there. You want to reach and you try your best, but still it is not in your hands, Suddenly something will happen. So people may have had so many plans in 19 and 19 and 20, but COVID disturbed everything. COVID was the master of the situation. For not less than 2 years, disturbed everything. And so many lives were lost. So many children and young and old, did not spare anyone. Did not, leveler, This corona was leveler. It did not spare anyone. Young boys and girls, so many passed away. In spite of all the medicines and injections and Pfizer and this and that, Bhagavan did what he wanted to do. Why? Was it in our control? Was it in our such big and rich countries like USA also affected very well? Very well they were affected, in fact worst. So things are not in control. We are not controlling anything. All our plans sometimes just go out of the window. Nothing happens as per my plan. And when things don't happen, when we are not in command, we don't like it. When things are not in our control, some people are such perfectionists. They want to plan everything, each and every detail. And when things don't go according to that, suddenly electricity will go. Suddenly it will rain. Suddenly some things will happen. And all your plans are disarrayed. You can't accept. But practicality, pragmatism is this that accept it. And don't just accept it with a long face, but gracefully. Why? Because it is Ishvara's decree. It is Ishvara's decision, and he has authored it, keeping in mind everything. Today I don't like it. Today I don't like this result. But definitely it is the result of my some actions. I take up that responsibility. You follow what I am saying? I don't like it, but I take it, own up my responsibility. I must have done something. Otherwise, why will Ishvara do it this way? He has nothing against us. He is merely arranging the actions. Whatever actions that I have done, keeping in mind, accordingly he is dispensing the result at the right time, right place. That much freedom he has. He doesn't decide to punish you. There is no punishment. No punishment at all. Whatever I have done, that I am getting back. But I don't, Swaminiji, I have not done such a thing in this life at all. I have lived a very righteous life. I have always helped everyone. I have always remembered God, led a very good life. Yes, you have. We do accept it. But you don't know your past. You don't know your past. You may have. You don't know. So, where will it go? From your account, it will not go away somewhere. In Bhagwan's Rajya, in Bhagwan's order, nothing wrong happens that what was in my account went in your account. That doesn't happen. This kind of mistakes human beings make. Some virus can come in computer also and things may go wrong, That no such virus, no such mistake can happen with Ishvara. That is our faith. This is Shraddha. Shraddha born of understanding. Not just blind Shraddha. This is not blind Shraddha. This is born of correct understanding. An understanding of what? Two things. Which two things? That individual is limited, plus it is the result of his actions, plus Ishvara decides when to give the result, in which manner, and at which time, in which birth also. If you read Puranas and Bhagavatam, you find that sometimes the result of many past births comes now. Comes now. What is the calculation? We may think that it is crazy calculation. What I did some 100 births before, why should the result come now? But that is what Puranas report to us. That comes now. We don't see any mathematics in this. For us, it is beyond our understanding. But rishis, sages do say all this. And it is understandable also. Because this we leave it to him. It is just beyond our understanding, beyond our can, to be able to see all this. There are certain things which only Ishvara can fathom. We just cannot fathom. Why two persons come together in life? Why am I born to these parents and not to some other parents? We are not given choice. Sometimes children say, why am I here? You don't like me. Then why am I born to you? Children ask all kind of questions. They take out their angers upon parents. Why am I born here? I never wanted to be born in your house. Arey, Bhagwan did not ask, mother will say, Bhagwan did not ask me also. Otherwise I would have said. Mothers say, why are you here? Why are you here? Laughingly she will say all this. When they harass the parents do say. But Ishvara doesn't ask. The fellow just comes. He just comes in our life. Our close relations also, spouses also, siblings also. Siblings are sometimes altogether different. Altogether different. Even so, identical twins also. Nature-wise, they are different. Nature-wise, they may be totally different. Looks-wise, yes. But nature-wise, both may be altogether different. Then why are they together? Who knows? Who can say this? Who can say? Tell me. Who can? Nobody can say. Nobody can say. Ishvara has just not given us any doorway into this. Because only he can see. For that, who can say this? Who knows when I performed an action, and plus in what conditions I performed, with what nature I performed, and when that is over, now how to give the result, when to give the result, only he knows. He knows. He was before us watching everything, and even after we pass away, he is still there, all knowing and witness of everything. He is Sarvagnaha. Sarvam janati iti sarvagnaha. Sarvam janati. He knows everything. What is going on because he is Antaryami. Right here. Watching everything. He is a witness. Plus he has all the powers. Ishvara means all power. So, we accept what has come. And as I said, accept it gracefully. Just as we discussed yesterday, accept it with prasada buddhi. Indians, we have this very beautiful concept of prasad. Prasad, you cannot have exact translation of that in English or in any language. Prasad is prasad. Who will understand prasad? Who offers something to Ishvara, then what comes is prasad. This we know. That we offered something to Ishvara at his feet, and then when they give back to us, our perception, our looking at it is altogether different. We don't look upon what it is, but from where it has come. The same thing, if I am given by some other person, then I may say, if the mom gives me, supposing she gives me apple, I may not take. You don't know that I don't like it. Why are you giving apple to me? But if the priest gives, we will not say, I don't like it, don't give me such prasad. When they give, we accept it. Prasad is altogether different because it is touching Ishvara and coming. Similarly, result comes from Ishvara. It is my action. Action is mine. Action I performed. But he gives at the right time and at the right place. That is what he decides. It takes a long to understand this. If we can understand this and accept this, our life will be very smooth. Otherwise, we will react. Why? Why? Why me? Why not him? Why not her? Why me? Sometimes siblings have this problem. Why he has everything and why not me? One may be very intelligent, other may not be. Or one may do very well in the business, another may not do that much. Things are there now and we compare. In friends also it happens. Both were studying together and see where he is. He is a CEO of one company and I am the same clerk here. Can't accept it. Not easy to accept. And then you find fault with them. All influence. Yes, he has cheated everyone. But he could cheat and you could not cheat. He had that smartness. You did not have that. Why? Because his destiny was like that. His destiny was that. That result was waiting for him. So he went, and for you something was obstructing. So that doesn't mean that we don't have to work hard. We work hard for the result that you want. See, we cannot just sit, whatever has to happen will. No, you work hard in the best way. What you are doing today will come before you in some day in future. It is bound to come. It is bound to come. What you did in past is somehow coming now. But what you are doing today, with the best of the intentions, with all the sincerity, all hard work and all diligence, it's not going to go away. What will Ishvara? He has enough. He is not interested in what you do. He'll give back. With interest he will give. He will give with interest. So this understanding of Ishvara is required. That he is the dispenser of the results of actions done today or in some past. So that understanding is not understanding, but I cannot pierce into the past and see all this. There is no way I can pierce into it. So, sometimes nowadays they go to these therapists, and some people there is that kind of branch also. They take you into past. This is what I hear, they take you into past, some past birth. Some people have this They take you into past and then they show you in some birth this must have happened. But this will make your life miserable. When you go and do all this is not natural. Now, before you didn't know that my mother, before you didn't know that the person who is there as my mother today was in the past my enemy. You come together. See, in the past these two people did not see eye to eye. But they came together in some such relationship where one did evil to the other. Things have happened between these two souls, these two jivas. And then one of them went away. And the other one is against you. So it's quite possible that in this life you come together and settle the account. Accounts have to be settled. If I have taken, say, $10,000 from you, and then I don't pay it back, and then pop off, then whatever, now you are waiting for my 10,000. In this life you cannot do, you're gone. Then in some way in my next life I will have to come and pay back. Some way. Yes, it is like that. So I may come before you in some form where I have to pay the money. And so enemies of the past come together as family members in the next birth. And we don't know all this. We just don't know all this. This is all there in the Puranas. We don't want to get into all this. That is why we just, in simple words we say, that it is difficult for us to decipher why a result is like this. It is not 1 + 1. It is not that simple. So, we gracefully accept. I have in the past also I have told you this story, that there was one philosopher and very, very mature person, very mature person. And he was in some place, in a port, and he was waiting, he was relocating. So he was waiting for his family and all his assets to come. And it was all coming by a ship. So he's waiting here. So his wife and children and all property and everything is coming in that ship. And it so happened that one messenger came and knocked the door and says, "Sir, open the door." So this fellow opened the door. And he said, "What is it?" He says, "Sir, I'm very sorry to tell you that the ship which was bringing your wife and children and all the property and everything has sunk in the ocean." So listening to this fellow said, "What?" And then next moment he said, "So what?" No, when he said what, this messenger repeats, "Sir, the ship has sunk." So next time his response was, "So what?" Then this messenger thinks he has not heard properly. So he says, "Sir, your only son has gone." Then this fellow says, "What?" So he says, "Son, your dear son has gone." Then next time his response, very next moment, his response is, "So what?" "Your wife is gone." "What?" Then next time, very next moment, "What?" Means, "What are you saying?" And then the messenger replies, "Sir, she is gone. You are alone now." "So what?" Then he says, "Sir, now all your money, assets, property, everything is sunk. You are on the streets, a pauper now." He said, "What?" Not easy, people may get heart attack that time only. Listening to this guy, you get shocked, you know. He says, "What? Sir, you are now a pauper." He says, "So what? I can start again. Money can come back." So, when he asked what, it didn't mean that he could not hear. He was not deaf. But for a second, he could not accept. For a second, he could not accept. But he was so wise that in the very next moment he recovered. Not that he did not love his wife and children. Not that he did not care for his money. Who will not? But he recovered. Recovered with understanding. Between what and so what, there is his understanding. There is his wisdom. Between what and for us, so what may not happen any time. For us, so what may not happen in this life. Depends on how the person is. For some, after 10 years, after 15 years, after 1 year, or it may not happen at all. This is where maturity comes. This is where understanding comes. See, we have to learn all this, no? We are helpless. Don't think human being can do whatever he wants. Some people think that I can do. I never take any no for an answer. This is your pride. This pride will be pricked any moment. The pride of this balloon can be pricked any moment. It will become flat any moment. Because life is not in your control. It is not in your control. Be always ready for anything to happen. Not that we are waiting. And we take care also that nothing should happen. If you are going out, take care of your car. See that brakes are proper. Everything is proper. But something happens. We don't know. Not that we want it. So this is accepting it, grace. This comes with the understanding of Ishvara. Then we can gracefully accept. Okay, fine. This is this is what you have decided for me. Okay, fine. At the same time, please give me the maturity and serenity to accept this. You can pray for this. Oh Ishvara, please give me the maturity, the wisdom, the peace of mind to accept all this. Give me strength, inner strength. We may be very powerful outside, but very weak inside. Very weak. And the real strength is this. Real strength is this knowledge. That is why they say, bhaktas are very strong. Jnanis are very strong. Like that they may be very frail, fragile looking. And there are powerful people, very well built, but cannot take any shocks, cannot withstand any shocks, not ready to accept. Mentally weak, internally weak, weaklings. Real strength is this. And in such circumstances, what really helps is this thing. So we all must have this knowledge. And now, let me tell you, again with this, we have to understand that Ishvara is doing what he is doing to really help me grow. Help me grow. Because this is not the only life. I have to move on. I have to go ahead. So whatever he has done is best for me. He is my guide. He is my friend. He is my philosopher. He is my mother, father, everything. He is my teacher. I always take shelter in him. He is my close confidant. I take shelter in him. This is Sharanagati. Whatever you want to do, please do. But give me strength. Give me strength. And let me tell you, If something can help us, it is prayers. Prayers can only help us if we want a certain result. Now let me come to that. If we want a certain result, along with all the planning, even take into consideration one more thing, prayer. For any action to bring about a result, 3 things are required. One is that you have to work hard. Another is you have to give some time for that. And third one is Daivam. Daivam means take Ishvara also into consideration. If we don't, we will work very hard. We will plan, we will do all the planning. Everything we will do. But what we will miss? Ishvara is missed. So before you do anything, take this third factor also into account and pray. That is why in India you see, for each and everything there is a prayer. When you get up, there is prayer. Then you start eating, there is prayer. Evening, another prayer. Before you go to bed, another prayer. Because you may not wake up. Quite possible. You may not wake up. So prayer. Before you start studying, prayer. Before you enter into car, prayer. When you buy a new car, prayer. On Dashera day, they will buy all the cars. And then, have you ever heard garlanding the car? In Dashera. Here if you talk, people will call you crazy. But in Dashera in India, everybody's car will have a garland, big garland. Even if we buy a scooter, then garland and do puja. Apply tilak to car. Car is not looked as upon as car, but prasad of Ishvara. Even when we enter the house warming, it's not just party. House warming is what? Navachandi and this and that. Why? Prasad. Prasad. Everything is prasad. So, the drishti is altogether different. This is bringing Ishvara with you. This is required. Otherwise, I have worked very hard in the field, watered the crop, given manure, and everything is now, the crop is all ready. For 6 months I have been working upon this, and I gave enough time also to that. And now what happened? When it is you are about to cut the crop tomorrow, or waiting to cut it tomorrow, suddenly what happens? Suddenly what happens? This cyclone, which cyclone? Biparjoy comes. Any cyclone, anything can come, hailstorm or something, and you lost everything. So what I am saying, you don't know what can happen. So at least with prayers, you try to ward off. Please save my venture. Please save my venture. Pray properly. That can definitely that can make the result, if it is going to be very bad, it can make it less. This is also again Shraddha. Some people will question, if it is destined, how can it change? Common person cannot change. Who can change? All powerful. He has all the powers. He can change. So sometimes doctors say, now I cannot do anything. We know all this, no? Doctors say, now it is not. They also say, now pray. All of you pray. And prayers can change. He will come back to life. This fellow will come back. Suddenly he starts coming back. Doctors had given up hope. What has worked? Mother's prayers, wife's prayer, daughter's prayer. Prayer. Don't doubt all this. Prayer is very effective. Prayer is coming when I realize I am helpless and you are not helpless. Have faith in this. I am helpless. A time comes when I become helpless, but you are not helpless. So, do if you want to do. A bhakta like Narsimha Mehta will give up. You do. If you cannot help, people will laugh at you. They are that outspoken. If you don't help me, people are not going to laugh at me. They will laugh at you. Now it is up to you to decide. Not that Sakama prayer is there, but this shows their understanding. This shows their understanding of Ishvara, and Ishvara does help them. So what I am trying to say is that when we accept gracefully, that doesn't mean we stop working hard. If we failed this time, work hard again. Start in a different way. Even then if you fail, okay, fine. But don't react. If you don't react and if you accept, you will proceed. Otherwise, you will stay there. When you don't react, you learn. And when you react, you don't learn. Okay, there must be something. Okay, fine. I will start again. So, but when you gracefully accept, you can start again. If you cannot, then you are angry. Then you are fighting. Then you are complaining, full of grievances. Such a person cannot proceed ahead. It harms his own personality as well as the surroundings also. So graceful acceptance. As it is, what is going to happen will happen. Why not accept it gracefully? Okay, fine. If this is what you want me to have, fine. Nothing like this. So this strength we must cultivate. In life, if we don't have this strength, then it's quite possible that situations and things going wrong, unfavorable situations will break you. But this will not break you. You will come out stronger. On the contrary, you will come out stronger. So with this, try to understand this and try to gracefully accept. And you can pray also that may Ishvara give me this strength. Give me this strength. Okay, with this we will conclude. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.